My name is T. Caldwell. Getting fired in front of 20 coworkers while holding a paper cup of warm orange juice teaches you something. You don't panic. You don't cry. You just stand there as the founder's mother slams her fist on a folding table and shouts, "You're fired. Leave this building right now." She looked straight through me, as if I didn't matter. She believed my 19 years of hard work were nothing but extra cost for the company. What she didn't know was that I was the person who kept the company running. While she proudly called herself the new CEO, she had no idea that every building lease, every vendor contract, and every repair had gone through me. Without saying much, I took off my security badge and placed it on the table. Then I asked one simple question. Who owns this building? The room became completely silent. People stopped eating breakfast. Some even froze with their forks in the air. The founder's mother looked confused. She had no idea that the company collecting the rent for this building belonged to me. I quietly picked up my bag and walked out. Before leaving, I told a few trusted department managers, "Please check the company's payment records very carefully." Then I left the building for the last time. But I wasn't going home. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. I placed a thick folder on his desk. Inside were years of legal papers, building leases, property agreements, signed contracts. The company's executives had signed every one of them without reading. For almost 20 years, I had watched them make one careless mistake after another. So when I got the chance, I legally bought the property through my own holding company. Everything was done by the law. Every document was signed. Every payment was recorded. Nobody noticed. While I was meeting with my lawyer, the company was already falling apart. The founder's mother demanded full access to all my computer systems. She wanted control immediately. But there was one problem. Every important system was protected by security linked to my personal devices. The IT team tried everything. Nothing worked. "We can't get in," one technician finally admitted. The founder's mother became furious. She shouted at everyone. But shouting changed nothing. Without those systems, the company couldn't manage its buildings, projects, or daily work. Then the legal department checked the property records. A few minutes later, one lawyer looked up with a worried face. "I think we have a serious problem." The lawyer closed the file and looked at me. "They've made a very big mistake," he said. I nodded. "I know." Back at the company, panic was spreading fast. The founder's mother wanted everything back under her control. But nothing was working. The IT team couldn't unlock the systems. The lawyers couldn't change the property records. The managers didn't know what to do. Then they made another mistake. They hired expensive lawyers to accuse me of fraud. My lawyer smiled. He placed every signed contract on the table. Every document was legal. Every agreement had been approved by their own executives. The company had signed everything. They just never bothered to read it. The lawyers had nothing left to say. The company had no legal case. With no other choice, they rushed to find another office. Employees packed computers. They moved desks. They loaded trucks. Management quickly signed a lease for a temporary office downtown. Everyone thought the problem was solved. It wasn't. The next morning, the company arrived at the new building. The property manager stopped them at the entrance. "I'm sorry," he said. "You can't move in." The founder's mother became angry. "We already signed the lease." The manager nodded. "I know, but another company has the first rights to this building." She stared at him. "What company?" He looked at his paperwork. "Another company owned by Mr. T. Caldwell." The hallway became silent. The founder's mother lost her temper. She shouted at everyone. But shouting changed nothing. The company had nowhere to go. The board of directors quickly called an emergency meeting. They also asked the company's original founder to return from his vacation in Europe. When he arrived, he expected a normal business meeting. Instead, they showed him the security video. He watched his own mother fire the man who controlled the company's real estate. He couldn't believe it. The board members started arguing. "This never should have happened. Nobody checked the contracts. This is our fault." They finally understood how serious the problem was. Without their main office, the company could lose millions of dollars. A few days later, my lawyer received a letter from their legal team. They wanted to make peace. They offered to pay 3 times the normal rent if I allowed them back into the building. I read the offer carefully. Then I smiled. "I'll accept," I said. "But I have one condition. They must also pay the higher rent for the past several months." My lawyer delivered my answer. The board had no choice. They accepted every condition. Soon, we scheduled one final meeting. I walked into the same conference room where I had been fired. This time, nobody looked down on me. Everyone stood when I entered. I wasn't an employee anymore. I was the landlord. I placed the new lease agreement on the table. Then I looked directly at the founder. "I have one final condition. I'll lease the building back to the company. But your mother is never allowed to enter this property again." The room became silent. Everyone looked at the founder. After a long pause, he nodded. "I agree." The board members agreed immediately. The founder's mother couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You can't do this," she shouted. Nobody answered. For the first time, no one was listening to her. She had lost all her power. She slowly picked up her bag and walked out of the building. She left embarrassed, the same way she had tried to embarrass me. A few hours later, the company wired the full payment. They paid the back rent. They paid the higher lease rate. They even covered all of my legal fees. My future was secure. A few weeks later, I sat in my new office high above the city. I enjoyed a nice lunch while looking out the window. Then I smiled. I realized something important. The founder's mother thought power came from shouting at people. She was wrong. Real power comes from planning ahead. Real power comes from staying calm. And sometimes, the strongest person in the room is the one who quietly owns the ground everyone else is standing on. The end.